Hey guys, welcome back, man. Welcome back to our podcast, my friends. Sitting here today with the topic here that has come up to us many a time. So, but I got my great partners in crime right here beside me over here. And how are you doing, Kimberly?
I'm great. I'm glad to be back. And I'm Kimberly Olexa here at Aspire to Be Hospitality Group, serving as Chief Financial Officer.
Hey, Justin Smith, run operations. It's Friday Night Lights. I can't wait to talk about some fumbles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
Good, bad.
Yeah, this topic came up because we're actually shooting this one on a Friday night football. It's our first football game coming up
Here in
tonight.
Texas, we're excited, right? I'm excited. I'm not even from here.
You know, me and Kim have been part of these Friday Night Lights for a while with their kids playing football, but, you know, they're all going to college, and we have our senior girl will be cheering tonight. So excited about that, too. So Friday Night Lights, and that's where this topic came up. But, hey, I'm Chris Olexa, CEO, founder of Aspire to Be Hospitality Group. We come to you from our headquarters here, and is super excited to share some nuggets that we might have and any interesting thoughts that we might have and how we look at business. And this topic came up since it is Friday Night Lights, and it's the word fumble in business. And I want to go back to this a little bit to where that word came from. And a long time ago, and I say that too long ago, but I was on a franchise advisory council with Buffalo Wild Wings, and we got to meet our new COO, Mr. John Bowie, and he used this word fumble, and it just stuck in my mind right away. And I'm all about the words that we can use in the stores. And he used the word fumble, and it meant in business, like if you're in the store and something bad happens, a guest, something didn't get the right food, something spilled. How do you attack a problem? So the word fumble to me just stuck out, and I thought I remember coming running back to you and saying, we're going to use this word. And that's why I said you kind of steal shamelessly, right, Justin? And so the word fumble meant that, like, when in a game and something happens in your business and you fumble the ball, it's urgency that everybody jumps on the ball to protect it, to get it back.
Yeah.
Now, it might put you in a bad position because you might have lost some yardage or whatever it might have been. You had a problem, but at least you got the ball back in your hands. And now how do you fix it? And that's one of the things that I throw out there, too. And in my life, it's the same thing as this in our business. How we challenge ourselves in our business, that we focus on our losses, right? We don't focus on our wins every day. We kind of look at the wins as like, hey, that's what we're here for. But the losses, how do you fix those problems? How do you address those problems? And how do you make yourself better at them? And that's one of the things and mindsets that I do in life but I use the word fumble a little bit when we're in the stores with it too, is how we're going to attack this problem and we're going to fix it. And so that's what I want to address today. So like when I'm in the store, and I see a problem happening. I see, a guest did not get the right food. A guest walks back in the door. Me and you were at Arby's the other day, and a guest pulled back up, didn't get the right food. And we both looked at that and like, oh, no. And the guy comes running in, and he says, hey, I didn't get my burger. And the girl just handed the burger back. Right?
Yeah. And I just want to go back before we dive deep into the fumble or the terminology. I want to address how that word came in my mind. It resonated with you on the fact board, and that's the first time I've heard that, you telling us about the fact board, but it resonated with me at the Buffalo Wild Wings convention when Bowie was on stage and he used that word. And I got my notebook out and I wrote the word fumble because I thought it was a great way to address when mistakes happen in the business or errors occur or different things come up in that sort. It's just one of those words that is not so offensive.
Yeah.
It's kind of less aggressive in my opinion. So it's a great word that we use around here at Aspire to Be fumbles into addressing errors or mistakes that us ourselves or even our teams make.
And that's cool though. Yeah, I go back to that convention, and when I heard that word, I came back and was like, I love this word. And then you heard it, and it just sticks out.
It does.
It sticks out in business, and it's a simple word. And I love how you just said that it's not offensive.
Yeah.
So when you go correct in the operations side or anywhere, you're not just getting on somebody. You're calling it a fumble. Hey, we got a fumble. And how are you addressing that, right?
Yeah. And it comes down to, when you fumble, everybody stops. And when you're solving these problems in the store with guests, these are tense, lots of things going on, in many cases, issues. So if there's a problem with a guest, I think you need to have a method and teach people how to talk to the guests, how to identify them. And we use the blast method. So that would be, you believe them, you listen, you apologize, you solve, and you thank, right? And if you can follow through with that, learn it, train your mind, listen to a guest's problem, right? Help solve the problem, and then thank them for their business regardless. So you're dealing with customers. We're in the hospitality industry, and it doesn't behoove you to just instantly go to that place of being defensive. You're wrong, I'm right. I think where we're coming from is we're trying to coach those fumbles and let people know it's okay to stop what you're doing, use this method. And if you're a more introverted person like me, I really appreciate a template. I really appreciate like, okay, this bad thing happened. I dropped a tray, right? I tripped, I dropped a tray. I wasn't fast enough, or, something that was in my control was out of my control. I tripped over something. If I can just go to that method and know at the end, the other end of that, my manager supports me, our support team supports me, and they will have my back, and the guest feels good about the result of it. I think that we use the blast method. Fumble is a word. If you say it, everybody stops, and then you go to that system. So have a system and teach your people how to react to a fumble. Don't just assume they know how to put fires out.
Yep. Yeah, and didn't we use at one time? Didn't we use we taught our team, everyone say fumble.
Yeah.
Just to address.
It got a little obnoxious.
They did
that word too. And it was like, fumble-aya, everybody stop.
Yeah. But that's the point of it. But that's the point of it. And sometimes you got to bring that word back up, right? Because I feel like, I think it's important. And when you said that, that's awesome, because we did have that. I remember being in stores and seeing scenarios where something would happen, someone would spill a drink, and it'd be in the dining room or the bar, and it'd be slippery forward, and you'd see everybody go and get them drink, get them bop, and some guy would say, go, whoop, 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 wet floor, whoop, 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 wet floor. Yeah. And that was a huge, so that taught teamwork with that too. And when I go back to the Arby's thing, Kim, where we had it, it's like, we saw that happen, and then the employee just gave the man his burger back.
Right.
And he said, she didn't even say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, or apologize, or the customer was severely inconvenienced. I mean, he had to ride around to the front of the building, get out of the car in the hot heat, come back in for his corrected order. And I mean, at least we could have done is say, I'm so sorry.
And that's a big deal. There's fumbles with our guests, and then there's fumbles with our leaders in our system. So that segues into a great conversation of, did that employee even know the blast method existed? Were they equipped to have that conversation? And did they know how important it was that when we make that fumble and hand them that item, that we're thanking them, we're apologizing, and maybe, and how our company rolls is we're going to go above and beyond.
You want to shake with that?
Yeah, you want to shake? Let me throw you a cookie. Let me make sure you come back next time. You come and ask for me. I'm going to make sure it's a fast, great experience.
That's a fumble that we lost. That's what I feel like is when those happen, and that's why the
others
so important. And it's so important that we teach our young people today in the hospitality business that, like, to go back to Kim saying it's not an offensive word. I love that. I haven't used that. I will use that from now on. Thank you. But we could have taught that employee, because I did hear one of the leaders in the company ask, hey, did you say I'm sorry and thank you? And that's a fumble that we lost because we didn't teach that. But it's time for us as leaders. We fumbled because we're not teaching that too. So that's important.
Yeah. And I think it's also important on how we as leaders handle those fumbles with our team members. For me specifically, it's, you want to go to a place of just blowing up or losing your cool, or, you want to attack it at, very aggressively because you don't want those types of things to happen again. But if you can just stay level-headed, it will clear your thoughts, right? And so that you can really address the issue. And when you have a fumble, like for me on my end, on my side of the office, if we have a fumble, I want to address the issue, of course. I want to know what caused a fumble. Mm-hmm. And then I want to set up parameters or systems in place to avoid that fumble going forward.
Yeah, of that. A lot of innovation comes from adapting to failures, right? So like if you're adapting to failures, recognizing it, and then you can innovate new technology, new systems, tweaks, that's a huge deal.
Yeah. That's cool. You said that you can't be aggressive when you attack, and I think the word fumble really helps you with that when you look at it and make sure that you address the problem that happened. Why did we fumble? How do you address it? Make sure it doesn't happen again. So that's super important, especially in the field. In the field. I mean, I see so many other times in other businesses where there's fumbles out there, but there's no urgency to jump on the ball. There's no urgency to grab it, pick it up and run with it type of thing. It's like, I didn't do that. I'm not fixing that type of thing. And I think in business and in life, you have a fumble and it's just like in a football game. You address it, you jump on it, you try to win it back, and you got to make up those yardage you lost because you could have fumbled backwards, And it's something that you need to address. And on the ops side, it's something that we have to address a lot because there's so many moving parts in the business, right? I think in the office side, there's not as many moving parts. You got way less leaders in the business and how we attack that. But on that side too, I think we do attack the financial fumbles a little bit. I mean, you called us out. You're pretty good at calling fumbles out on the financial side.
Yeah, because, that's how I operate. That's how I do things. I feel like if you call it out, address the issue, you can learn from it and move forward from it. If you will, are we going to talk about an example here?
Yes. Yeah. I would love an example right now.
Okay. So I can say, like, for one of our stores, Gonzalez, it was an underperforming store, right? And so I went in and I said, hey, we got to rally the troops. We have to gather around. We have to bring in the...
This is a highlighted story right here. It really is.
Yeah. We brought in the operation team. We brought in the HR team. We brought in the marketing team. And we brought in us executive leaders, and we just started identifying the fumble, addressing the fumble, and then set up some goals and good parameters to start attacking the fumble. And we're learning from it.
Yeah.
And we're moving forward from it. And it's a great way, I think, as a team to collaborate. And if you don't ever acknowledge your fumble, you're going to find out you're ending your year and you've never addressed it. And that just puts us in a harder position.
And as leaders, we're putting together that playbook and we're identifying the problems that they have, but we're giving them, smart goals, right? We're giving them specific things that they need to work on. We're giving them means on how they're going to measure success, right? And then we're going to say, is it even attainable, right? Is it within reason? And then time sensitive is the end of that goal. And basically all that means wrapped up is we're going to give you specific goals. It might be a liquor cost. We're going to give you a time frame on when that's going to get done. Is it a reasonable request? And we're going to coach you, and we're going to talk about it next week if we're there or we're not there. And when you start giving those plays and talking about it every week, and the leaders are helping with those smart goals, you can really move the needle. So that's a fumble recovery, and we're driving down the field now, right? Yeah. That's how I feel. Like we're driving to go score a touchdown now.
With that, why I wanted to go to that is there's little fumbles in the store where you forget to give somebody their burger in the drive-thru or their fries or whatever it was. But then there's major fumbles in the business. And we went through Gonzalez as one of the stores. We had a lot of turnover in the management side. Ever since COVID, it just couldn't get the right leadership in there to the point the store was like in disarray. Yeah. And instead of just walking away from the fumble, the major issue, we attacked it as a company, and with your leadership, you brought this intervention plan type of thing in, and we started all working together as a team. It's like, I felt like we all jumped on the ball now. Now we're all grabbing it. Instead of just one of us holding on to it, everybody was grabbing onto that. Mm-hmm. And now within, 3 months of that, you saw some major changes in that. Mm-hmm. So you can take a bad situation, and if you all attack the ball with urgency and have that mindset, you can do some great things.
Good leader, good store. A lot of time that probably goes for many business. If you've got a good leader in place, that typically resonates into being a good store.
Yeah. Well, go back to when you say that now, that leads me to another thing too, that on my side of it and your side and Kim's side of it is that, the more you're involved and the more you're watching everything, the less fumbles you have. The bigger we got, like when I was working my first Quiznos, one business, you had your Quiznos, one business, you rarely had a fumble while you were there, but when you left, you noticed there was fumbles, and then, so that goes with the company. As big as we get, you're starting to see a lot more fumbles because we can't be there.
We're always going with that is like, is it a person problem or is it a system problem? And so I think a lot of what you're getting in there, recognizing as a fumble, and a lot of the reason that you were so successful, and even when I remember being a GM, is because I ran the systems, the tools, the years and years of experience and proven models. I ran them and then saw if I fumbled. So a lot of what you're getting in there and attacking is saying, is this a person or a leadership problem? Or is this a reflections of our systems aren't great and our processes aren't great? And I think you have to be unafraid to attack that. That's not easy to attack because sometimes it truly just comes down to the individual might not be on board with the system or not equipped to run it or wasn't trained properly. But that's where I feel like in Gonzalez, for example, that was a lot of what I was thinking about as we were approaching this.
Yeah, that's a good call out on that, because that's what we're getting at is like with the bigger we get, the more systems need to be in place, and the more the more we're spread thin. And on Kim's on her side of the office, she don't have too many fumbles because you're in tune to everything with right?
For sure.
That'll get harder. And you're in tune and you have that hole, but it's just gonna get bigger and better. So your systems will be tested, and your people are gonna be elevated. You've made some incredible upgrades.
Yeah, and as I layer people on, on my team, that is true. My fumbles will start to occur, more than I'm used to. But again, my focus is to go back and address the issue and learn from the mistakes. I try not to ever make anyone feel bad for their fumbles. I want them to learn from it. I don't want, like the young lady that we're talking about, my focus on was really, why did she say she said something that she didn't? As a employer, I want those employees to be able to say, man, I messed up. Because unless they admit it, they'll never learn from it. And so, admitting and identifying those problems are the key to success and from learning and pivoting from those problems so that we can grow it.
You said something really good there. I mean, our employees will tell us the fumbles and our customers will too. So they will surely give us them fumbles and call them out on the field. But we have to take that information and make sure that we're acting on that as well. So maybe it's not super interesting to get, 2 surveys back, but it's really interesting when it's 2,000. And you're looking and saying, hey, we've got some major opportunity. Let's steer the ship more towards takeout, or even on the individual level, where if we get something back that might feel dramatic, but I'm sure you can pick some truth out of it and saying, how do we take this experience where someone rated us a 1 out of 5 and turn that into a 5 out of 5? And realizing how much these people care to even take the time to give us the feedback and what our responsibility is to make them a 5. And there's some really cool fumble recoveries where people who would go on and give us a poor review are now friends with our managers and now come in are their biggest cheerleaders on social media. And had we just turned the blind eye to what our guests are saying, or that fumble on the field and just assumed, the other team's going to go get that one, not ran as hard as we could, we might be missing out on those wonderful opportunities. And I think that resonates into driving sales in our industry and hospitality in everything. And that's a huge deal of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and I'm thankful. Chris always tells us to focus on our losses. We celebrate our wins, but we focus on our losses to accelerate this company to the next level. And I appreciate that.
It's not the most popular vision, but boy, when you understand what we're doing and you go through it as an example, as someone that's teaching others to do it and see their reactions and seeing just the result of we're making people happier and they're coming back to our business more often. It works for us. It works for this industry. Hospitality, that works.
Well, you bring that up, Kim, and I think it's the mindset in this business, and it's any business you have. And I hear this so many other influencers out there that I listen to, and they're always like, focus on the positive. Don't let the negatives get you. Focus on the positive. Focus on the positive. I am so far against that, and I think we all are. I know you are too now, and the whole team is. We focus on our losses. Believe me, I know when we mess up. I hear you screaming and hollering at me. I see you post on social media. We're not perfect. We own 15 restaurants. We try to be perfect every day. But it's hard when you have 700-800 employees to be perfect. But if we don't focus on those negative comments, if we don't focus on those problems and those losses, you'll never get any better. Now, if I sit there and look at my top 10 stores that are kicking butt, I'm happy.
And don't get it twisted. One of our number one initiatives in our company is being the greatest place to work for.
Yeah.
Having the best first day ever. So we're not trying to like make celebrations one-offs. We're trying to have a party every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what we're working on behind the scenes is not turning a blind eye when someone's upset or has a bad experience and saying that, nope, we're only going to focus on this is a great place to work.
Yeah.
Just because someone had a bad experience, that doesn't count.
Well, that's like this thing we're working on this focus of the fumble of likely to return right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, our teams are like, well, I'm 89%. Well, why aren't we 99.99%? Yeah. You know, they're like, well, I'm okay. They look at you like, oh, crap. But I think to who we are as individuals, we always strive to be better. We're the most humble people you'll meet in the world, but we want to be great at what we're doing, and we want more, and we want to be the best at what we do. I think if you focus on that, if you focus on your losses, you look at your fumbles, you know, fix your fumbles. And when I say fix it, I commend you, and I've learned a lot from you because I see how you handle your fumbles. I've recently saw another one that came through the other day where some lady or some company was saying, you didn't pay your bill. And I sent it to you and your team. Like, hey, this lady's emailing me. I think it was a landlord or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? And you didn't blow up. You looked at the fumble. You went and met with your team. And correct me if I'm wrong on this. And you met with your team. And then come to find out, your team was like nervous. Like, no, I paid that. I paid it.
Yeah.
But you're like, let's find out. Well, come to find out, they remitted it to where the address is on the bill. But they had the landlord had just changed their address and never notified. But on the bill that they sent, it was the address.
Yeah.
So was it really our fumble?
No.
It was their fumble.
Yeah.
And you could have handled that totally different because it was kind of in our state like a little embarrassing to us. What do you mean we didn't pay this bill? Right. So you handled that in a gracious way.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. You always have to go in and analyze.
So, well, man, it's a great topic, and I'm glad everybody.
You can end this without. I think the greatest, how this started before we come across the word fumble.
Yeah.
But when you used to coach Little League football, you would tell your kids. What would you tell your kids about making mistakes?
God never gets mad when you fall down. He only gets mad when you don't get back up.
Yeah. And so that to me has resonated in my mind. And that's why I try to pour into my team. Like, don't get down on yourself if you make a mistake. Learn from it. We're all learning from it. Let's rally behind each other and let's move forward.
Well, those are some great little times back then. And those are the words that I had to use with those kids, right? When they would get mad or get upset, they would get, but they didn't really get mad, they'd cry. And you had to tell these 8, 9-year-olds.
When they really did fumble.
Yeah, they fumbled the ball, they jump out, cry. But I need this kid back in the game. And it's like, same thing in business, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, don't get mad. God never gets mad when you fall down. He just gets mad when you get back up. Yeah. And that's the same terminology, too, that I'd like to throw out there, too, is another mindset we do is a nugget for us is we fell forward. You fall forward. You fell forward. So a fumble is a fall. We're going to fall forward. And like you said, the girl could have just admitted, like, hey, I didn't say I'm sorry, and owned it. That's a fall forward. That's okay. We're going to fix it. And this guest, hopefully, we'll get him back. And when he comes back, too, try to remember that guy. And we'll give him a free chocolate shake or whatever he likes. And it's owning your faults, right? And understand them and learn from them. So, yeah. Well, good topic today, a fumble. I love the word. And I'm glad that it resonated with you and different others. And it definitely resonates with our team. So, yeah. Well, hey. A question today, though, is I thought about this, and this is a question, and it's I don't know if I'm saying it the right way, but I get asked this a lot too. Is like, how do you guys run so many companies and have 4 kids and live life and do all the stuff you do externally? Justin, with all your kids playing softball everywhere, we're always all over the place. Like, what's a life hack for you? And what's something? How do you get through life? And just a trick of something that you can share with some people out there. How do we do it? How do we handle our problems, or how do we handle life? So, Justin, what's that for you?
Life hack for me is you control the algorithm. So you're on social media, you're on your phone, we're going crazy. If you take the time to type in business hacks in TikTok or whatever you're typing in and searching for what is gonna be in your feed. So on LinkedIn, right now I'm searching for Starbucks district managers, and now they're populating my feed because I want to see how they're leading their stores. And on TikTok, I'm getting business advice because that's what I search. So my life hack is don't let these social media platforms dictate what you see, because they'll absorb you. Start making searches of things that you're interested in. That might be, I want to be healthier. I want any of that. And the algorithm will start giving you the things that you need to work on: health, business.
What I do on YouTube, I look when we're looking to buy a boat for the kid.
Yeah.
And I just started looking at boats, and now every boat gets boats on.
So why not I say it's losing 5 pounds or whatever you're working on? You control the algorithm. That's a life hack.
I like that. You can control the algorithm of your own life. So that's pretty cool, Justin. I love that one. Kimberly, what you got?
Yeah, so I think mine would be getting up an hour and a half earlier than my family, and just having that long time to connect to my Savior Jesus, and just reading his word and meditating and just being thankful and present, and just really being in the moment and just thanking him for everything that he's done for me.
That takes discipline. That's a crazy life hack.
Yeah, and there's so many books, written on just getting up at 5 a.m. or whatever works for you and your family, but just getting up that extra time to be alone and in peace, and just, for me, it's meditating on Jesus and what he's done for me.
Cool. It is. It's special too, because I will say this: I hear her get out of bed every morning. Her alarm goes off, and I hear her get up, and the dogs get out in bed and go with her. And you do say this: if you don't take that time, you're not at all gears. You're not full tank of gas, right?
Yeah, I'm missing. Yeah. My cylinders are missing. I'm not there. I can't be present.
Yeah, I could tell that. So that's special you, and it shows every day in your life that you do that, and the walk you live too. So I'm super proud to be married to somebody that does that. A life hack I have, and I kind of came up with this a while back, because I struggled with different things, is I created this middle bucket system. And I felt like there was 5 buckets in my life that I really, truly need to focus on. And if I didn't do this, I was going to struggle in life. And one would be my relationship with Kim, a personal relationship with my wife. Second would be a relationship with my family. Then a relationship with God. And then my business. And then my personal health, right? I have cancers. I've dealt with cancer twice in my life, unfortunately. And I'm always on the defensive side of prepared again to what if it comes back, any of these, or if I get a different one. So with that, if I don't pour into each of those buckets just a little bit every day, of course, business, if not, you're going to pour all in your business, and your family life's going to struggle. And if you're not pouring in your spiritual life, your family, your business is going to struggle. Your health is going to struggle. So you have to kind of figure out a way. You got a bucket of 100 drops in it. How do you put them in each bucket? And the other day I was super, super busy, and I made sure you had a school board meeting. You were busy. It was just me and Chapel at home, and she loves riding the golf cart with you every afternoon. You're riding the bike, and I was like, "Hey, you want to go ride the golf cart? Yes, let's go." So it's like it's fun. Or even to go and to feed the animals outside. The horses go, "Chapel, let's go. Come feed the horses with me." Or trying to talk to the boys or girls that Chap Clara and spend that time with. If you don't spend that time, people ask me, "Are you good at golf?" No, because I don't have that bucket.
Yeah, that's not. That's the.
So people out there in business, those are the 5. I feel like the 5 biggest things in life that you have to.
That's cool.
If you have a golf bucket, you're taking away a drop from all these others, and they're gonna struggle a little bit. And unfortunately, and that's not good. And you got to pour into more. And sometimes you notice, well, I need to pour a little bit more into this one this week than this one, because I poured too much in this one, and that's business. Me and you do that a lot when we travel for business, and you're like, wait a minute, we can't do back-to-back travels because we're not at home with the kids enough. So that's in my mindset with that too. So
algorithm, wake up early, bucket, life hacks.
Man, you get we can win over some stuff with that. That's good. Good content there. But hey, I want to suggest to everybody, please go follow our pages, like our pages, subscribe to them. It means a lot to us. It really gets a good feedback to it. And we're rolling. We can give us some ideas too. We have a board. We work on it every day. We move it around. We try to meet on this and try to discuss what's best out there. Kim really challenges us as leaders of what content can we get out there. We think we're getting a little bit better at it, but we also want to be the best at what we do. Kim's mindset when she ran for the school, she wants to be best in class. So she wants us to be the the best business owner, the best family people, the best godly people, and the best podcast people now. But hey, thank you. Appreciate your time, guys, and we'll see you soon.